fearless. It's the pain of having no one in my life. And I'm tired of being under fire. It's time to never give my feelings tonight. The sky is calm, the stars are bright. What's better than to be alone? I relax my mind and be at ease, and let this journey set me free. Set me free, and now I'm to a place that I long for. My heart will be safe. That's evermore. I often wonder how I manage, always searching but not finding a true heart. What does it take to find me? I'm hoping that I don't have to fly too far. The sky is calm, the stars are bright. I was written to be blind. I'll relax my mind and be at ease, and let this journey set me free. Set me free, set me free. Set my wings high away.
Who with us? Check it out. Who with us? Good evening. Welcome to the Wyatt-Live 5 p.m. drive home show, y'all. I'm about to start something. Hit the share, hit the tag, let them know where we at. Who with me? Yo. Good evening. Welcome to Wyatt-Live 5 p.m. drive home show. It is the weekend, y'all. It is the weekend. Let me get things ready. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me? I don't want none today. I don't want no crap. I don't want us to. Hold on one second. Let me make sure. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me out there? If you can hear me, throw a thumbs up. If you can hear me, throw a thumbs up. Yeah, Unc. What up, D Brown? What up? What's good? What's good with everybody? It is Friday, the 5 p.m. drive home show. I'm going to get started. You know why I'm going to get started? Because I only got an hour today. I only have an hour. All right, Jenny says you can hear me loud and clear. That's good. I only got an hour today. Let me get right into it. It's Friday. We have a weekend review, if you want to call it that or whatever. But I only have an hour today, so it's a couple things I want to get to. But I want to wait for some more people to get in. Let me explain to you what's going on here. I think it's some bullshit going on. Now, y'all can say, oh, nah, you just ain't holding your water. You ain't holding your weight. You ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. We can say all of that, right? But I find it weird that our viewership all of a sudden has gone to 50%. The last two shows, right after the show we do on the whistleblower shit. I could just be out of sync, or out of I should just be disengaged. Maybe I don't know what's going on, but I've been hearing some other people on much larger platforms say the same thing. And I've heard 2 or 3 people, not like a bunch of people, but I've heard people who said that their followers went down the last some time ago when they start talking a certain way. I see a little hypocrisy, to be honest with you. Hypocrisy. I see a little bit of it. Let me explain to you what I see going on here. How many of y'all, by the show of hands, be honest, have you ever been in Facebook jail? Have you ever been in any type of social media jail? Have you ever been in any of that? It's funny how we can be put on social media jail and consequences and all this old shit, but the same people that's putting us in jail are for whatever, misinformation, threats, or whatever. They tend to let the rhetoric that's being talked about on their platforms, if it's misinformation, as long as it's fitting a narrative and an agenda for some people, they allow that shit to flow. They allow that to keep going on. I'm not buying this shit. I'm not buying that our viewership went down 50% in 2 days. Mysteriously. Right after the show of, this is why I told y'all, see, I'm not a dummy. I know I might come off like a clown sometime and be clowning around, but I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I'm far from the dumbest. Okay, and what I told you guys an hour before that shut down, and this is some proven information, I guarantee you. An hour before that shutdown of Facebook, I came out with a post and said, this may be my last show on Facebook because of what I have to say. So everybody has to go subscribe on the Wyatt-Live YouTube channel. I told you guys to do that. Now, how is it mysteriously that our numbers go down 2 shows in a row, 50% after a story like that, when in fact, the last week or so, numbers have gone up about 20%. I'm just curious. You can go back and look at it. For those that like to fact check and all that, just go back and look at I don't know a podcaster or a radio station or any type of business in the media or anything like that that don't pay attention to who's paying attention to them. That doesn't make any sense. They can pretend that they don't pay attention. I'm an open book. I honestly say, yeah, I watch those shows. I listen to them. I pay attention to things. They give me energy. What's wrong with that? That shows you who's really trying to help who and who's really fronting out here talking about, I help black people. I help black businesses. Yeah, okay. Okay. I've always been a peacemaker. Now, if I disagree with you or one of your points or something, okay, don't take it personal. You said it. I don't take shit personal that people say about me unless it's some personal shit. You say something about my children, that's personal. You say something about my opinion, damn it. You can do that. I don't have a problem with somebody disagreeing with my opinion. But come on, man. This ain't cool. I told you guys, go subscribe to Wyatt-Live. There's some shit in the mix, okay? Listen, the last thing you're going to do with a dude from 1335 John Street is hold him down on some shit that money can fix. We don't play that in our hood. Shit. What did Nino say? Y'all know what Nino said when he poured the cancel it. I'll just buy another one. I'm just playing, ladies. I'm sorry. Don't get mad at me, but I'm in my Nino Brown mode right here with that shit. But that's okay. When things like this happen, this is the difference between winners and losers and people that go get it and people that stand still. People that bitch and complain about what somebody else owns in their systems. And if we can't fit in their systems and shit, we feel like we've been mistreated. Well, I don't own Facebook. Facebook can do whatever they want to do to me, to you, and anybody else. They can do whatever they want to do. You think I'm going to sit here and bitch about it? I'm not bitching. I'm just making y'all aware of what's going on here. I try to stay frames ahead of whatever the situation is. And in this particular case, I told y'all, listen, this might be my last situation. I already know they're not going to like cold cold turkey me and cut me off like bang. They're not gonna do it like that. That's not how they do it in the business world. They kill you with paper cuts. They tend to torture you. And what they don't understand is, I'm one of them type of dudes that I believe, if I believe in me or if I believe in something that I'm doing, I'm going to give it my all and I will invest in me. I don't need people to invest in me. I will invest in me. And that's the only thing I've been trying to push on this whole platform. We can invest in self. Y'all see the post. I always say that. Invest in self. All the other shit will work itself out. You invest in you, the other things will come. Trust me. There's people right now today that think the reason why you are who you are is because of them. Yeah, you. They think that about you. And they think that you will try to clout chase off of them as if you don't have anything to bring to the table. That shit go on in this real world. But I thought I'd just bring that up because it's very important. Because I get ticked off when I see shit going a certain way and I seen it coming and there's nothing you can do about it. I got a little angry about that. Hey, Miss James. Miss James is in the building. She pops in. I just don't think it's a mistake. Now, our Fridays are generally slow anyway. I pay attention to that. Everybody getting ready to go to the football games. Hell, I want to watch the UC game. They on ESPN tonight. I wish I was there. I would probably go. So let's get this hour in real fast and get up out of here. Let's get this hour in and get on up out of here. All right, let's see what we could do. So listen, I was on Facebook today, and when you cut on, certain people's stories come on, and I'm surfing a little bit, and I see a little girl named Tish. One of the families I grew up with down the way, the Rogers. What's up, y'all? I hope y'all here. I hope y'all listening, and if not, you watch the rerun and get a little of this, because I want to throw a shout out to somebody. This was some real. This one here was really, really special. I seen someone on a photo that I haven't seen in a long time, and she's no longer with us, but is Ms. Rogers from down the way. Ms. Rogers had the first flow on lock in our court. All right. And if her family is listening, to the young ones who may not have known Miss Rogers, I mean, you know your grandmother, all right? But I knew your grandmother in her prime. I knew your grandmother when mama didn't take no mess. And I'm gonna be honest with you, yo. I was gonna save this piece of thunder for toward the end, but I can't hold it in anymore. But Miss Rogers whooped my ass a few times around that fence right outside in our court, center court. Yeah, she got me a couple times because my grandmother told Miss Rogers, if you ever see his little ass doing something, you got him. He yours. Miss Rogers, who everybody in the hood, everybody in our court called sister. You couldn't call her like Miss Rogers. She ain't go. She wanted to. I know it's respectful for all of us to call our elders Miss Rogers, this and that. No. She brought what we need today in our communities. She brought that to our court. So I'm gonna refer Miss Rogers to what we all knew her as back in the day, and that was sister. You understand? So when I say sister, I'm talking about Miss Rogers. Peep it. I was on Facebook and I seen a picture of Miss Rogers, sister, and I teared up a little bit. And I got into a dialogue with her granddaughter, which is Tish. And Tish is the daughter of Faye. Now, what Tish don't know is I had a crush on Faye. Faye was the baddest. They gonna trip on my ass, ain't they? Oh my God. Hey, it ain't a guy downtown that didn't have a crush or something about Faye. Faye was so cute. She was so fine. What did I know about fine at 9 years old or 10 or whatever? I knew absolutely nothing. But Faye was unbelievable. You know who she remind me of? I know I'm sitting here at lightweight sounding like a creep to some of y'all, but I don't care. I go back. My past is so good to me that I don't mind going back to it. And it be the struggles and the hard things sometimes that you live off of and you make good, you grow up out of it and it make you who you are today. It's those things that really are the most appreciated. You just got to catch up to it. Well, anyway, let me just tell you, Faye was like the girl who played in the movie Sparkle. That's who she reminded me, because when Sparkle came out, I thought of Faye. Now, Tish, I'm not trying to be funny about your mama, okay? Everybody, every dude, 9 years old, 10 years old, had a crush on Faye. But what I want to do, I want to show you the picture, okay, of Sister Miss Rogers. They shared it on Facebook, and I asked permission if I can show Miss Rogers. Now, this ain't a real good picture because it's old, and that's what's so beautiful about it to me. It puts me in that time and place. If you showed me one of her being alive to, when the year she passed, I would say, okay, that's cool. But you brought me back to Sister. And it was a moment for me. And I seen it today. This is her right here. She's with her father. Now, you could tell how old the picture is because you could just look at the cars and shit. They don't even make cars with that type of steel anymore. All right. But that's Sister. That's Miss Rogers in the white T-shirt. And from my understanding, that's her dad. I've never met him. I don't know. I don't know anything about her dad or anything like that. But I know what kind of woman he raised. You know what I mean? I know that. And she was one of those. The reason why I'm into this conversation like this right now is because you got to sometimes pay homage to people who really helped you stay straight, helped you be respectful in your own community. And I'm sure there's a whole lot of us out here that we all have somebody we can point to. Okay. And today just happens to be Miss Rogers Day, AKA Sister. And Sister whooped my ass one time. Oh my God, she whooped my ass one time because I was up at Channel 48 doing some bullshit. Now, if y'all don't know, that's where we hung out as kids. Like, it was some shit that we did and we just got in trouble for it. All right, we knew not to go up at Channel 48 and throw rocks at the bus and run up on the roof and do a bunch of shit. And I guess Sister was coming from somewhere, and she seen all of us, me, Jazzy, Tico, Daryl Fields, all of us. And see, I'm gonna tell you something. My friends all could run real fast. Like, most of them went off to go to schools like Cape and shit. I was like the slowest one out of all of us, and I could run. But these dudes was just faster than me. And every time we try to run, I get caught. And I remember one time we was up at Channel 48. If you from down the way, everybody know that's where it was. Go to Channel 48, act a fool on the roof. Right? She caught my ass one time because I was running on the roof trying to keep up with my partners, and my ankle got twisted in the roof. Like, the separation of the one side of the roof to the other side, my ankle went in there and I twisted it, and she caught my ass, whooped my ass all the way from Channel 48 to Laura Holmes, right in front of the freaking police station, District 1. Miss Rogers was whooping my ass. Today, you couldn't get away with that. I was born too soon. Sister whooped my ass from District 1 all the way to our court, sent me to my grandmama, where then they met on the second floor. Sister grabbed my ass and took me up to the second floor. My grandmother was coming down from the fourth floor. And they simultaneously beat my ass while sister was whooping me, handing me off. My grandmother got a little hold of me, whooping my ass, telling me, I told you not to go up there. Now, you talking to a man today who don't believe in whoopings and shit. I don't do the whoopings, okay, with the kids. It's not necessary as far as I'm concerned. I had girls. It's easy for me to say, okay? You got boys, maybe it's different. I'm never going to judge somebody if I'm never in their shoes. But in my case, I didn't grow up. I didn't raise my daughters feeling like whooping was necessary. I didn't want it to choke their ass a few times, but I never whooped my girls. Maybe once I got into a little situation where I had to shove her ass in her bedroom or something. I don't know, but they were children. But what I'm saying to you is this. Those days of the neighborhood raising us are gone. Now, there are still some people in our neighborhoods that are raising us. It's just we're getting the wrong kind of raising in certain neighborhoods, bottom line. So I wanted to shoot a shout out to sister. Let me put her picture up one more time. And I want to say RIP to her. I'm not even quite sure when sister died, when she passed on, but heaven received a special angel when she passed and went on. And let me tell you something. She had several kids. She was one of the reasons why didn't nobody mess with the Rogers, because it had to be about 980 of them, and they didn't play. Her daughter, Kathy Rogers, who is my age, we all grew up together. Kathy, what's up if you're watching? She was the person, she's the individual, she's the first female to ever make me understand that girls could do the same shit that boys could do growing up. She was the first one out on the basketball court with us. She would play football with us. She would outrun some of us because we played, you know how everybody in the hood, you create Olympics. You create a lot of shit. We don't have toys. We didn't have tether balls and shit like that. We created our tether balls. You know what I'm saying? All we needed was a pole and a rope. All the other shit we can emphasize on. We would put that shit together from milk cartons. Who remember that? Tether ball, you get the milk carton, fill it up with rocks, tie the rope, put it up on the thing. Let's go. Kathy would beat us at that sometimes. And it was so many of them. Let me just say this to you. Here's the joke. Okay, y'all know I got to bring a little bit of laughter, a little bit of humor to the situation. They were one of the families that had the first floor on lock. See, in law homes, there was 4 doors on every floor. You know, two in the middle, one on each side. In law homes, right? They had all 4 doors. So you didn't play with them. You didn't mess with the Rogers, man. You know what I mean? They were one of them big families. You had Jimmy Rogers. What's up, Jimmy, if you watching? He moved off to Milwaukee. He's still in Milwaukee. He got a beautiful family. So I want to say shout out to the Rogers and their beautiful kids, and all of y'all grew up to have some beautiful daughters, handsome sons, great grandkids, and those grandkids are now having kids, and it's a beautiful thing to watch growth from where you from. I'm just being honest with you. It's a beautiful thing. None of us had much. None of us had shit. None of us had nothing. Okay? I'm just being honest. You know, we would cap on each other, but shit, it was almost like capping on yourself. We're going to talk about somebody toe up ass shoes when your shit toe up. Well, we did. We was just arrogant like that. We was stupid. All right, so look, I wanted to pass that shout out, and let me show that picture once again, if I may, if I can get away with it. Shout out to Miss Rogers, aka Sister, in those 2 ass beatings. It had to be something special if I can remember both of them. I only told you one of the ass whooping she gave me, but it was the worst one because I don't know if cell phones would have been in existence back then, I probably would have got a lot more ass whoopings from them. But cell phones, thank God, wasn't in existence because Sister, I don't know how sister was able to let my grandmother know. I don't know. My grandmother looked out the 4th floor window and seen me getting my ass whooped, but I know she met sister at the 2nd floor. I still to this day don't know how they knew what was going on. I'm shocked. I'm trying to figure this shit out. Both of them are in heaven now, so I'll never know until I get there. What's up, family? It's Friday. Y'all ready to go out and enjoy some Friday football? Yes, Tish. Look at Tish. She say, my granny. Let me put it up there again. That's Tish who I was talking about. Tisha. I call her Tish, but Tisha, y'all. That's her granny. You got a special family, girl. We all had rough times, girl. We all grew up looking out for each other. We all had something going on. You hear me? You know, we all had our things, you know. But that's a special lady right there. She kept shit in order for us in the law homes. She controlled that first flow, and she was the eyes of the first flow. She kept shit in order. Like, between her and the Medeiros' mama and them, shit, Puma and Miss Sister, and you cannot forget Big Mama, Miss Lavinia. Listen, the hood raised us, y'all. I'm going to ask y'all, 10 years from now, what are these kids going to be saying? 10 years from now, are these kids going to be able to pull up pictures and say, those are the people that raised me in the hood. Those are the people that raised me in my neighborhood. I got mad love, mad respect. You know what I'm seeing right now? I see some of the gangsters that grew up in my neighborhood getting smacked in the head by some of these young dudes. I seen some of the toughest dudes in my hood growing up get shot in the ass, literally. You could say I'm laughing, making this shit up, but you know who I'm talking about if you know this specific situation. I've seen some of the toughest dudes in my hood growing up get shot in their ass trying to say something to these young boys out here. It was about 4 years ago, but it still happened. They don't care who you are out here. It's a new day. It's a new person. It's a new kid. It's all of that. It's all of that. So, shout out to my special person in life, Miss Rogers' sister. What's good, y'all? It's Friday. Who ready to go get some football in? It's Friday night. You got UC playing tonight at 7 o'clock on ESPN. You got, let's see, I think FC Cincinnati plays Saturday, and of course the Bengals in Cincinnati will play on Sunday against Green Bay. That's going to be a tough one. Let me just say this to you. If you're a sports fan, I want to say this. Plus, on Saturday night, you got a heavyweight fight. Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Hell of a fight. Gonna be a hell of a fight. Hell of a fight. And I look forward to it. This is gonna be a great weekend. This is gonna be a great weekend to be alive. Great weekend to be alive. While I'm on this in my mind, I want everybody to know that it's important that you go to our our YouTube channel, Wyatt-Live on YouTube. Find it, because Facebook is tripping. Some of you weren't here when I was talking about this. Hold on one second. Let me read this. The Betting Public Show, which is Fame. He says, I'm tired of hearing about old ends that had it. Be the same old ends that ratted. Jadakiss. Right. Right. That's why they had that attitude against them old heads. Fame. And unfortunately, I fall in that old head category, but I don't really try to do, you know what I'm saying? I ain't on that level of trying to coach a drug boy or a dope dude into how to circle his plan. I'm not trying to throw no blueprints out for them dudes anymore, man. It's a different day. It's a different day. I can't say that I wasn't there at one time trying to help and show some things, man, but it's a different day. It's a different cut of dude out here that's hustling. It's different, bro. It's different. They want the deals in business to happen as fast as the money that they making. And what they don't understand is you gotta decipher. There's a difference between how you make your money on the streets and how you make it legitimately. And it just don't move as fast legitimately. It might take you an entire week to make $1,000, where it might take them a couple hours to make 1,000. I'm just using that for argument's sake. That's too slow. And a lot of them don't have the business mentality. That's not saying that they're dumb. It's just, I'm just going to be honest with you and say that when you get in fast money, it spoils you. Your attention span for perfection dies down. And if I can prove that to you, I'll show you what our younger people are going through right now. And I'll tell you, like, TikTok has ruined the attention span. Social media, TikTok has ruined the attention span of our young folks. And the reason why I say that is most TikToks lasted about 15 to 30 seconds or somewhere in that, somewhere in that area. And it's on to the next. And I can't have a conversation with a 30-year-old if they're not my kid or somebody in my family, or if they're not if I got to show them something or whatever. I can't have a conversation with a 30-year-old past 5 minutes. They don't even want the mic. Like, I could be talking and they'll be right in my face. Yeah, bro. Yeah. A minute and a half into the conversation, they instant beats the spider in me and shit. This is the same dude that called me to get the information, bro. What do we do? This is what we want to do. How we invest. We going to get this business. We going to do this. And then when I got to sit down and explain it to you, you can't give me 5 solid minutes of explanation because it started out wrong. And the first thing I say to him is you got to be patient. Oh, shit. After that first minute and a half, it's crickets. Doop, doop, doop. They zoned out. Shit, my daughter do it. She 20. Let me see. Fame says Wilder by stoppage on Saturday plus 0.2. What is it? 260. Double and a half of your money at money if he stop him. Fame. I actually heard your breakdown of that fight. Here's my thing, bro. I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I'm not a bettor on the sport because I'm in it. I'm a licensed individual, so I'm not allowed to bet. I'm licensed in professional boxing. I'm not allowed to post a bet. Okay. However, if I was a betting man, I actually have Wilder winning this fight. Now I have Tyson Fury winning this fight. Now my heart is with Wilder for all the right reasons. But my boxing knowledge says Tyson Fury wins this fight, bro. That's just, I'm sorry. I just, unless Wilder is going to be something different than he's been, not just in their last 2 fights, but in all his fights in history, unless he's going to be something different than that, the only chance that he has is if he hits him with a right hand. A boxer can outbox a one-hand fighter all day. Now, I know I've overheard you say some things, Fame, about Fury and his conditioning and stuff. Sometimes that can be deceptive in the heavyweight division because they fluctuate in weight. One time they 270. Next time they 320 before they 300 1 minute, then they down to 270, and fight night. Let's just go by the final fight week. Let's go by that. Okay, let's go by that. In this fight week, I would look at his shape. I would look at his mental right now, this week, from Monday on up to this day. I would look at that. But I'm just going to be honest with you. If I had to put my money down on the bet, or I don't bet lines and points and stuff I don't really do that. I don't do that in sports, period. It's just not my thing. It's not that I look down on it. It's just that I'm not. If I place a bet, I bet on who going to win, who going to lose. There's no point spreads and all that type of stuff. I don't really get into that. There's a science to that, Fame, and you know it. You know it. There's a science to it. Injuries and all that type of stuff. Y'all know how to break that shit down. Go check out that betting show, y'all. Fame, if you feel like it, put it on the screen, man, on how people can get a hold of you. I don't mind. You know that. We may have some people on here that want to bet on the fight this weekend, and they may holler at you. Sounds like we need to connect on my Instagram live tomorrow morning. Send me what time. Send me what time and I'll see, because I'm in Florida, so I really want to. I got some things I got to take care of this weekend. But man, listen, if it's a short period of time, let's make it happen. I got Fury in this fight. I don't think that Fury's gonna knock him out, because unbelievable. Listen, Deontay Wilder is a unbelievable specimen of a man. Okay, he's in shape. He stays in shape, but I just don't think that he's seen what was coming in that second fight. See, what a lot of people don't understand, and I don't understand this about a lot of people when they say, I don't want to see them fight again. This is the third fight. Well, then listen, that's a casual fan. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't mean this in a disrespectful manner, because there's some people on here that probably don't want to see that happen again. However, real boxing people love this matchup because it's mysterious. We want to know if the bomber could land one of them punches and put this dude down and keep him down. We already seen that he can be put down by Deontay Wilder, but can he keep him down? Okay, that's the whole key here. Can he keep him down? And I have a feeling that Deontay Wilder has what it takes. It's obvious, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to get that done. That's a hard task. Fury is a huge man, and in order to connect on that man, you really got to extend yourself. And the last thing you want to do to a boxer is extend yourself. You get to reaching, you reach, they teach. That's all I can tell you. And my heart is with Wilder, but if I had to put money down, I would put it on Fury. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that shit, but that's my 1, 2, 3s and ABCs about it. Sorry. And I got it going the distance. All right, Fame, hit me up, bro. You got my information. Hit me up and we can make that happen. I got that time for sure. 15, 20 minutes, bro. We can do that. Let me know, because I can give you some insight. There's a lot of fights coming up that I'm looking forward to. One of the fights that's coming up is my man Tank. Devontae Davis is about to fight Romello. Come on, bro. Now, I don't know if y'all know this. I'm not going to talk boxing all night. There's a big fight coming up. There's several fights coming up. Jamel Herring is fighting Shakur Stevenson. That's in Atlanta in November. That's bananas. I'm trying to reach out to Jamel and get him on the show. But see, here's the thing. I'm conflicted because I love both. Like, I don't know Shakur Stevenson like I know Jamel Herring. I don't. I mean, personally. But I've been, we've kicked it. But Jamel lives in Cincinnati. So we've had Jamel worked with me in boxing when it came down to me throwing shows. Jamel is a great guy. Listen, this is going to be bad. And if Jamel hear this, it ain't going to start out with me saying this the right way. But I got love for him and his family. His mom is in town in Cincinnati. But you would never think that Jamel is a boxer, because of his persona and how nice he is away from the ring. Does that make any sense to anybody? Like, most boxers have a persona of them. They carry themselves a certain way. All of them aren't rude, but they have a little ego, and you have to have ego to be in that sport. If you don't believe in you, who will? If you don't have some sense of arrogance, your championships and your run could be over. You know what I've never heard Jamel say, and this is weird, this is odd. Maybe he said it on TV, maybe he said it on a show or something, but I've never heard Jamel say something to the nature of, I'm the best. I'm the greatest. Is it because he knows that, or is he just humble pie? See, you can't be a world champion and not think you the greatest, not think you the best. You can't do that. Mentally, you go into a fight, if you don't think you better, you've already lost. But Jamel Herring, Marine, so the courage is there. All heart. But I've never heard him say an arrogant word out of his mouth. Never. I mean, I'm not around him every day. I don't sit at his dinner table. But I know his wife. They support boxing in the city of Cincinnati, and they're part, Jamel works out with the Cincinnati Golden Glove kids, and he's just a good guy. All right. And he's never really, I mean, listen, I remember, and this ain't going to sound good once again, but I just have to be honest. I remember sitting in a truck when we were in Colorado. See, I've seen these guys. I will never disclose what I seen, but I've seen Shakur Stevenson and Jamel Herring fight before. I've seen it. And it's just a rule in boxing that what happens in sparring stays in sparring. So I'm not going to say anything about that. But let's just say, at the end of the day, Jamel Herring was in the same truck as us. I mean, he was in the same camp with Terrence Crawford. And Jamel sat in the back of the truck. It wasn't his time yet. Okay, we all have to understand we have our time. God will give us our time to shine. He will give us our time to be great. And it's all what you do with it. It's just at that particular time, it wasn't Jamel's time to be who he is today. He's always been Jamel, but he wasn't world championship Jamel Herring. But he is now. I reached out to him to get an interview. I'm still waiting to hear from him, but I'm just letting you guys know that regardless if we talk to him or not, my feelings about what I just said it won't change. Okay. There's a lot of nice guys in boxing, and it's like anything else. When you see these guys, you have a false perception about them because of the knuckleheads that are out there. I've had conversations with Jamel, and he's been an adult. He's been a smart guy. He's been family oriented the whole time. So I'm off of that. So good luck. His fight with Shakur Stevenson is coming up. We'll talk more about that later one day. I got a question for you guys. Remember when Dr. Umar Johnson was on the show a couple weeks ago, maybe? One of the things that him and I had a conversation about was schools. This was off the air. This was him and I talking in the morning on the phone. And I asked him some questions about school, kids in school. And I asked him, I said, man, do you believe in allowing in school choice? And Dr. Umar Johnson told me, he said, now we talking on FaceTime. He's like, no, I don't believe in that. I said, whoa. I said, I never really agree with everything people say that come on the show. And I think we just found one of the things that you and I are going to disagree on. He was like, I don't care. We could talk about it, brother. Just let me get my pinpoints of what we got going on in Cincinnati and blah, blah, blah. And, I said, oh, that's cool. But we never got to the conversation of schools. In the Wyatt-Live family messenger group, someone sent, I don't know if it was there or if I seen it on post. I apologize if I'm remembering, and I may be remembering wrong. But what I do remember is this. Hold on one second, guys. What I do remember is this. I do remember him mentioning to me he did not like school choice. And remind me to talk about that. I got a call coming in, and I have to take this the traditional way because my system seems to be acting up. So hopefully we can get this. Good evening, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
It's Fame Rothstein. How you doing
Hey,
today?
Fame, what's good with you, brother?
Oh, I'm outstanding. Always a pleasure.
What's happening, man? What's on your mind, bro?
Oh, nothing. I'll hit the one number, and I don't know where you at on Instagram, but we'll have to figure it out somewhere to about 11:30. But you said Jamel, I jumped. I thought you were talking about Jamel Hill.
No, Jamel Herring.
Yeah, but okay, but Jamel Hill is still relevant because there's a news story out about her.
What is it?
She did Sage Steele.
Oh, okay. So Sage Steele is the new cutoff. She's the new canceled person at ESPN, right?
Right.
What happened?
She apparently Sage Steele once told her. She went off about the way that the ESPN women were dressing on air. saying it's unladylike, unprofessional, blah blah blah. Jamel Hill.
Who said that one, Fame? Who said that?
Sage
Jamel?
Steele said that.
Sage
No,
Steele?
Sage Steele said that.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Sage was always sharp on there.
Yeah, and then Jamel Hill kind of went off and said, "Well, I heard Sage Steele said this," and Jamel, she once told her, "Well, if I was a young black reporter in this game, I wouldn't listen to Sage Steele." I know that Sage Steele isn't necessarily a friend of the community, but every now and then she's right. I think she's got a point about the way these women on ESPN dress.
How are they dressing?
They dress like high-class call girls.
Okay. Don't hold nothing back, Fame.
Just doesn't have the figure and the body or confidence to do that. She didn't have the requirements to pull that off. What's her name? Elle Duncan. All these women, they're on TV. Their skirts are. I mean, it goes back to about 10, 15 years ago. A reporter does the show with what's it called? Pardon the interruption. The old white guy. He said something about Hannah Storm. Like, what's she like 50? Why is she on TV wearing go-go boots?
Okay.
And he got suspended. And it kind of goes back to all that. That's why ESPN came out with the policy, like, don't diss any other talent. But I'm like, Sage Steele's kind of got a point. Some of y'all are dressing like straight up whores. And you wonder why you're getting, then it went into that, you're blaming a woman for, the way she dresses for why she gets raped or why she's getting talked about. But it's like, we're on TV. This is what we see. You're on TV. This is what we're seeing every day. She's got a point. Like, keep it ladylike and professional on there. All these people are going on ESPN clearly trying to springboard into other things.
Right.
And I'm like, she's got a point. I mean, I'm sorry, that's why I was calling in. I thought you were talking about Jamel Hill.
No. I'm cool, bro. It's Freestyle Friday. You can say whatever, but I think you got a good point. I think that there's a place. I think that dress code is important in anything we do, whether it's sports, whatever you're doing for a living. If that's their job, hell, to be honest with you, man, I'm gonna start putting some pickets out. I'm going to be standing in Walmart parking lot here soon because I think Walmart need a dress code for their damn patrons. I think people that go in Walmart need a damn dress code, bro. Have you seen the shit that walk in Walmart lately? But when you at work, when you
flip-flops and house shoes.
Oh, man, some of them people walk out, like the ass that they have in front be all on the floor. And so, I mean, it just be crazy. I'm just saying, I think that we have a dressing problem in America, period, from patrons to staff people. I mean, I'm guilty, to be honest with you, Fame. When one of my first jobs where I was required to wear a suit, I just didn't know, bro. I didn't know that it took a certain type of dress suit to do the job. Here I am in the stores called merry-go-rounds and all this old goofy young shit trying to get corporate suits when in fact it looked like I was MC hammering on the floor of the employer. And it's a taught behavior. Now, are you thinking that these women that are on ESPN, do you think they wearing this shit that they're being coached to, or they're picking their own stuff out and wearing that so they can just be, so they could stick out? You know what I'm saying? What do you
I think they're doing it on purpose, because ESPN, I think they try to stay away from women. They don't want the backlash, from Me Too and getting sued and whatnot. And, they might, we reprimand them later, but I think the women picking their own outfits. One time I saw Elle Duncan, the neckline on her shirt, like it was like you might as well just come out topless. Like all we saw was cleavage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And let's be honest, Elle Duncan fine. So when she's showing off something, you look at.
Nah, I understand.
I don't even know what she was talking about.
Right.
That was her shirt.
Well, I think that does women a disservice in the profession of what they're doing. I think most women would agree that, and I can't speak for women. I'm speaking from a male's perspective who really don't want to see that. But to be honest, I think that women that are trying to be professional in any type of business, I think they frown down on women who are being, a little bit, over the, edgy when it comes down to their clothes at the job. And they have their reasons of feeling that way. And then men have their reasons of feeling the way they feel about that thing too.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. No matter what we think about Sage Steele, she's got a point here, and I think we need to listen to it.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, man, if I can. You have Deontay Wilder winning the fight this weekend? on stoppage?
Yeah,
Did I
so,
overhear you say that?
yes, you did. I got Deontay Wilder. I'm kind of like you, and I'll tell you why. We'll get into it more tomorrow, but it's just that it's a value with him. The value.
I understand.
I'm getting double my money back, double and a half my money back if he knocks him out. He's got the ability to.
Right.
He's got the
So
ability.
you're making an investment type of a bet versus a knowledge of the two men's skills and craft bet, because Deontay Wilder can knock out anybody in the sport,
Right.
okay? But there's a thing called defense and a thing of staying away and hit and don't get hit. That's a rule of the game as well. And to be honest with you, Tyson Fury does that real well. He has a real big body to get around, and he's hard to touch. And people that have to touch him have to reach for him. And in the sport of boxing,
what the issue is.
yeah, when
I
you
think
reach,
this is the first guy Wilder's ever fought that's bigger than him, and he just can't handle it. He's coming up with 1,000,001 excuses, firing his trainer. My costume was too heavy.
Right.
No, bro, you got knocked out. That
Right.
had nothing to do with shit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You just can't beat this guy. In the old boxing, you know, we talked. You in the game, and I believe the old boxing adage is, if a guy knocks you out the first time, he's gonna knock you out the second time, only quicker.
possibly, yeah. Here's the
see what I'm
thing, man.
saying?
Here's the thing. Tyson Fury has absolutely nothing to lose in this but a belt, okay? But let's just
Right.
flip it. Let's flip it. If Deontay Wilder loses this fight, quite honestly, this could be the end of his career.
See, then there's a desperation factor for him.
Right.
So, yeah, when I'm saying Wilder, I'm saying more value. I truly believe in my heart that Fury's gonna win. I just don't know what method.
Well, let me just
know what I'm saying?
let me say this, because JK says Fury gained 20 pounds. That's a bad sign. He was already 370 in that first fight. Okay,
Right.
That's a bad sign. If he's up to 390, he's not gonna win this fight. That means he's had back at some of his old habits, and he's probably kind of kind of laid back and lazy on this fight, and he's probably thinking that Deontay Wilder's a piece of cake at this point. Deontay Wilder actually lost the first fight. I know they called it a draw, but Deontay Wilder got beat in that first fight. I'm not happy to say that, but if Deontay Wilder would not have knocked him down, the points would not have been what they were at the end of that fight. But Deontay Wilder has already lost to this man twice. Now that might be a bad thing for Fury on this one, because he might just be underestimating. He might just feel like all he has to do is get out of the way of that right hand, and that might just be what it is, bro. These guys been doing this since they were forever young, and boxers know what the hell they doing. The good ones do.
Right. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So like I said, value is not a bad look to go with Wilder on the value of the return.
I got you.
But yeah, in you know my the modest amount of knowledge I know about boxing tells me that Fury should win. I just don't know what method. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But yeah, man, that's all I got. It's always a pleasure to talk to
Always,
you,
brother.
And,
Always.
I'll catch up with you in the morning, and we'll do that on IG.
Yeah, can you reach out to me? Let me know what time. Let's just go ahead and put it in concrete. Reach out after the show, or text me or whatever, and we'll make it happen, bro. I look forward to it. I find it to be an honor to come to your show and do what we need to do to talk about boxing. I love talking boxing.
Absolutely. All right, brother.
All right,
Good luck.
Fame. Appreciate you, brother. Nothing but love. That's Fame, y'all. Y'all better check him out. If y'all need to get a bet on, if you're trying to make some money in boxing. I know I disagreed with this pick, but you never know. I mean, there's other things going on. He may be right, but there's other fights coming up. You might want to place a bet. Like I told you, I can't really bet in boxing. It's not really what I do. I can't go do that. But all right, so Fame brought up something about ladies dressing funny in ESPN. I mean, that wasn't our topic or nothing like that. That's cool, but you know what happens is we didn't really have a topic, but what happens is I feel that women need to really look at that. I think Sage Steele might have I think she has a point. I think that women should pay attention to how I know sex sells and all of that, but you want the same respect, you want the equal pay, you want the this and this and that. I mean, it's important that people respect you. And I don't know if sex sell in corporate enough to earn respect. It might earn you a check and a spot on the team. but I would want to get there on my skills instead of my assets, if you understand what I'm saying. And I don't mean any disrespect. I really don't, but I'll just leave that right there. One of the things that I was talking about were these vouchers. Like, I seen a story that came out about private school Ohio students. I think it's Senate Bill 290 or 292 or something like that they're working on, and it will allow Ohio kids who are in public school right now to have a choice of school. And I think that's a great idea. I've always been an advocate for that. I've always said that it's very important that children get a good education. Now, not to take anything away from Cincinnati Public Schools, they don't have the greatest record of success of graduation with their kids. I mean, at one point it was 27% of their kids were only ready, that were ready to go to the next level via go into the workforce or go into a university or a trade school. That's a very low number. And to be honest with you, it's shocking. And I'm shocked that more people don't have a complaint or don't have something to say about that. It shocks me. We bitch and complain about all these things that we try to figure out but this school thing, whether we want to admit it or not, is more detrimental to our communities than anything else. Because if you can't make it through school, chances are you're not going to do much in life. I know there's exceptions to every rule. But one thing that I learned is that, and this may not sound good to some people, but this is the truth. It's all about who you sit next to in school sometimes. That's a truth. That's a fact. Some of the things that I was able to do in business and connections on getting reference letters and things of that nature came from people that I was meeting at my daughter's school. Some of them actually stepped up and helped me out with letters of reference. A couple of them gave letter of references for my daughter to go to Ohio State University because they were grads. We got a local dentist in the city of Cincinnati. There's a local dentist there who wrote a reference letter for my daughter to be able to get into school. He's an Ohio State University grad. She did some time in his office to be able to pick up a little bit of volunteer work. These things are essential to us. And we have to do that. And unless we have somebody actually talking about it, I feel it. Maybe it's my responsibility. Maybe it's not. I know I'm hated. I know that people don't take me serious. And I'm not talking about us, fam. I'm talking about the people that don't take the time to really want to get a different opinion or a different approach of what we got going on in our cities or whatever. I know their way is the right way because that's the way they've been talking and they've been scheduled to feel the way they feel. They've been saying the same shit over and over and over again. Now we've discovered different things that have always been there. Here's one thing I want to bring up. As I'm talking to school, it reminds me of something. There's a situation going on right now with Bruce's Beach. I don't know if y'all are familiar with it. I'm not going to go real in depth into it because I want to do a full show on Bruce's Beach out in California. And, you know, of course, everybody has the juicy piece of the story, and that is the disparity of what they did, what they did to black folks out there. This one particular black couple, I'm going to show them to you. This couple right here, African-American couple by the name of by Willow and Charles Bruce, bought some beachfront property back in 1912 out in California. And they kept it for about 7 or 9 years. And they made it a resort for black folks. Back in the days, it was an area where black folks could go chill, be black on the beach, relax, get massages. These were entrepreneurs because Mr. Charles Bruce, he still had a job. But Willow Bruce, she ran the resort on a day-to-day. It was her business. She was the owner operator. However, Mr. Bruce He was her partner. They had a business together. They bought this land, 2 parcels, beachfront property, 1912. Things wasn't real good for black folks in 1912. So there was a situation going on in this particular city out in California where that property start becoming more valuable, and they seen a use for it. Plus there was a lot of things going on where they were being, harassed, not only by like police officers, the city people that were living in the city, but they were also being harassed by the local KKK. Because this brother and sister opened up something for us, by us. This was FUBU. This was FUBU before we knew of FUBU. It was for us, by us. And I learned a lot because I've researched it. It's not like this story is new. It's just new because it's great timing for people right now because of some of the stories that's going on of the disparities and reparations and tax values. This story is not new. But what a lot of people don't know, and a lot of people are going to take, and the meat and potatoes of this story is it was some black folks and they got done wrong, which they did. But nobody's done any other examination of the area. Now, if y'all think I'm going to sit here and justify the wrongness that was done from them, it ain't about to happen. So don't click off yet. I just want you to understand that Bruce's Beach was a casualty. There were other lands around there that got swept up by that same eminent domain. There were others. They just held out. They felt attacked, which they should. You can't tell me that you took these people's land, their beach, their property, and you held on it and it stayed vacant for 30 years because you had plans for it. That's bullshit. You took other parcels around the surrounding area just to get the law of eminent domain so you can get that property. So there were other people that sold and bought. I seen the price was like $14,800 or $14,500 or something like that. In today's world, you would think somebody just stole it. But we're talking 1912, 1918, sell of date. I'm not saying that this situation is right. What I'm saying is stop looking at $14,500. It was 1918 when it was sold. Okay. But let me just say this because this is very important. I would never argue with anyone about the things that we went through as African Americans in the day. When you hear me talk about we need to be doing this, we need to be doing that, listen, half the stories and half the things that these folks that want to argue and to bring up and shit like that, I've already seen it. I know about it. Some of the shit I could tell them and they'd be like, I never knew. I never knew. But what I want people to understand is prevention. How do we keep something like this? We focused in on what happened. I'm more focused in on how do we not let this happen again? The knowledge of it is very important. But how do we stop this from happening again? But let me tell you, you can't have how do you have this stop, how do you stop this from happening again? You can't have that if you don't have property owners, if you don't have people that thought like 1912 black folks did. How is it that in 1912, 6 years away from Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, how is it that when black folks had it at its worst time in America, they had more equity in this land of America than we do now? How is that possible? You think it was easy for them to even acquire that property? Of course not. But they made it happen. They didn't go say, they ain't giving us no loans down here. I can't even get no liquor license. How many people you think said that in Black Wall Street? See, listen, I don't disrespect and I don't want to come off as being confrontational when I talk about people that talk that we shall overcome shit all day, every day, and talk about what somebody then did to us. I just don't have, listen, I know we're victims. I just cut off my victim mentality and say, fuck it, I'm about to kick my victim. I'm about to kick those people that turned me into a victim. I'm about to kick their ass. I'm gonna do what my godfather told me. He said, you gotta beat them with their own stick, son. So listen, working together is a great thing. I believe people should be there to remind us. I believe that. I understand. But I'm put on this planet, I'm put on this podcast to show us now that we don't have the same situations happening right now. So let's make good on what we got going on right now. How do we fix this to be in a position where that can't happen again? Let me take a phone call because I'm getting that one kind of way. Good evening, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
You are speaking to your number one fan, Wyatt-Live, Drop Squad 52, also known as the Black Not Democrat.
Drop, I'm doing good, brother. It's great to hear you, man. I'm blessed today. I didn't have fame, and now I'm tripping over here.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, sir, I happen to have 2 audio clips of something that occurred on another Cincinnati show. Now, this is your show. If you'll give me the green light, I'll say the name of the podcast. If not, I'll just let you know what happened on his show when a caller, I can say his name, Glenn William Washington, also known as the host of the Politically Petty podcast show. That's right, him, Glenn from Mason, my arch rival on this show. That I don't know, he's the overseer because I'm a Black Not Democrat, and he's the official Negro whisperer for Democrats on this show. So,
okay.
Wyatt, have you heard anything about what happened on the show?
I haven't heard anything, man. But what happened? I mean, I haven't heard. I wasn't listening. I'm busy. I'm doing what I do down here.
Okay,
and
you do what you do, and I'm sure you do it well. Well, if you allow me, it's only about a minute long. I'll play it. It's in his own words.
I don't have. Yeah, I don't have a problem. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
All right, here we go.
Ripped at yesterday. Yeah, I called out you and your little whack ass friend with his little whack ass show. This brother had the nerve to try to block. Well, he blocked me because you know what, man? His own family members in his crowd were turning against him because they saw the buster in him. They saw the pre-pastor. Oh, yeah, he's a buster. A Black Russia, Lawrence, Black Iowa, Pink Coaldale, whatever the hell his name is, he runs right to him. So, they got that Herman Cain is stuff to him. You can see it from a mile away. Oh, yeah. Herman Cain, and, his boy trying to act like he also did it. He freaking Tim Scott and the Ascot. That's all it is. And I'm calling it out. Tim Scott and the Ascot. It's Lawrence or Black Eye. Yeah, they still talking about PG. Lord have mercy. PG is like in he rinsed wound in their head, apparently.
They still talking about PG? Damn.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, Dave, I called him out. I used to test him. Like okay. I felt a little drippish right there. Then I would test him again. I was like, okay, you kind of got, you might be one of those dudes wearing the black for Trump, sitting right behind the podium type. Oh yeah, mate. That TSA thing will hit right away. I was like, okay, that's what we dealing with. Then when Lawrence or T. Greg or Black Rush or whatever Blue Uzbekistan, whatever the hell you want to call yourself, then he started calling in. Then Drop was getting his exclusive, Fox News, Breitbart, Jesse Lee Peterson exclusive. I was like, okay, my intuition was correct. So, yeah, man, you know me, man. Can't stop, won't stop, man. But
well, Mr. Wyatt, what's your take, sir?
I mean, what do I say about? I mean, where do I start? I mean, what do you want me to say? I mean,
I just wanted you to hear. Okay.
Was that all about me?
Yes. Okay. That call was in response to the day before when I was having a discussion with the host and I said he was radio jumping me. That's a term that Fane Rothstein came up with. And so in the chat, Glenn from Mason, he types in the chat, oh, he complained about being radio jump. Drop is soft, just like Wyatt-Live. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? Why is he talking about Wyatt-Live? So I got on, and I lit his ass up. Okay? And then this morning, this is what he calls in and says. But he was talking about you, Wyatt. He didn't have the audacity to mention your name because he knew what was going to happen if he did. Because I put him out there that he wrote it in the chat. So he said you, he described your show. Am I correct?
It sound like it, but
he described some of the people that
he described a whole lot of people, but I don't expect anything different. You know, we supposed to all be working together and be brothers and all that shit, right? And never have I blocked the individual because he was on some of that typical bullshit. And that is, like he just said, he knew exactly what he was doing when he said that
when he said the word drippish.
Well, no. Let me say this to you, bro. I've always been the type of individual that take the high road when it comes to certain things. And how you beat a motherfucker down is you generally let them continuously be who they are. The difference between me and that situation is I know who I am. I know my purpose. My purpose is not to entertain people. It's to really educate and maybe try to give a different perspective. And if I got to be weak and all that, then soft and weak and all that, then you know. It sounded to me like somebody was in their feelings because they got dropped. I mean, because they got blocked. You know what I'm saying? So and here's the thing, bro. Yeah. I actually respect the guy who runs that show. Like to the point where I've reached out and had conversations. I can't say anything bad about him. You see what I'm saying? And I wouldn't do that. However, if I disagree with one of their points or or something like that, I just say what I say. I just have.
Well, let me ask you this, Wyatt. Okay, you've made it very clear what your opinion or your stance is. So, what if your listeners? What if you put a poll for your listeners or your followers on Wyatt-Live and ask them if they want to see you clap back to Glenn from Mason?
You know what, man? What?
To do that? That's. Because I think your listeners want to hear you light his ass up.
But why? Because, I mean, first of all, this is what I say. Who is he? Mm-hmm. What's the benefit in clapping back? What's the benefit? Because, I mean, here's the thing. Okay. Anybody that knows me, if he's saying something about me that's valid, they'll check him on their own or they won't even pay it any attention.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Here's the other thing. There's a certain crowd over there and a certain audience over there that's going to rock with that type of conversation anyway. So I'm okay with that. I don't want those type of people.
Why do you think he mentioned your show? And like I said, I think the only reason he mentioned your show in the chat was because he listened to one of the how many episodes have we done?
Maybe two. I think you've come on a couple times. Come on here and then you put it over on your podcast. So maybe a couple.
I think it was the latest one we did on Afghanistan. You know what you did with the Mexicans, the Afghanistans, and the Haitians.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, man.
He listened to that and he's freaking jealous because of, I'm not gonna say my success, but my ability to stand up to him toe to toe, no matter how many times he blocks me on Twitter. And I just keep coming at him and he can't stand it. Now that I've reached out to another Cincinnati, I don't know what to call your show.
A Cincinnati Whack podcast.
No,
let's be clear. That's what
YouTuber,
it was. Okay, a Cincinnati Whack podcast YouTuber or whatever I'm called. That's okay. That's all right.
Because again, why I say his defunct podcast, Petty Podcast, has not done a podcast since July 20th. And I constantly, almost every other day, I call this show, remind everybody that of the buster that he is. And I just think, besides me and the alt middle affiliates who also know your show, I let into him just to expose his weakness. And all I'm saying is, I think your listeners want to hear you just rip into his ass. Just let him have it the way you can, Wyatt. Just let him have it. But I know you already said you don't, but just ask your listeners and just see what they say.
I will. You have my word. I'll do that. Now,
Okay.
here's what I will address some of the things about what we were accused of doing. Okay, that's fair in his mind.
Right.
What's fair is to address some of the topics that maybe he brought up in that conversation. I think that's fair. And when you say PG, I only talk about PG when his incompetent attorneys allow him to step into the media. I don't bring PG up unless he brings himself up. Okay, so when you hear him say, they still over there talking about PG. No, we talk about PG when PG puts himself in a position to be talked about. Okay, I've never brought him up in a conversation because PG don't mean anything to me. I'm just trying to show people when he does things like go on social media while he has a pending case, it's not smart to do. But I also bring to the attention the lack of attention that PG got from the community because of who he was and his empty promises to certain people in our community. I think that's fair. If you're media, you would cover that, but you can't because there's bias there. And I brought that to the people's attention. I think that's fair to talk about. I don't lead my show with PG. The only time I talk about PG is when he has stepped out and been part of the local media story, something that he didn't did. That's the only time. Now, when you bring it up like we over here concentrating on PG, I can tell you that I don't wish him to go to jail, but PG's going to jail. Okay, he's going to jail based on what my experience of knowing how this shit works. That's just what it is. And what's
the Fed's conviction rate, Wyatt?
Like 98%, 98.7.
Okay, that makes sense why you say he's going to jail.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he's going to take a plea. Once he gets over his, and I don't want to talk about PG now, but same thing with Jeff Pastor. He's another local one. He's part of that 98.7 percentile that's going to end up going to jail as well. And I talked about Jeff Pastor the same way. I talked about what's her name? The sister. I said the same thing. So PG, like okay, I got Angela just said PG is actually relevant because people are still whining why he's catching a case, and that's my whole point. Now that's somebody local in Cincinnati who's saying PG is still relevant, and he is. When he walks out of a federal courtroom, he's still on city council. He's suspended. Okay? He's still receiving a paycheck. So every day, PG Sittenfield should be relevant to a Cincinnati resident. He's still receiving a pay. He's suspended. Okay? And when he walks out of a federal courtroom, he should be talked about.
That's true. A elected official.
Yeah, I mean, why shouldn't you talk about it? Bro, what do I get out of talking about PG Sittenfield daily? Nothing. The only time I talk about him is when he hits the newspapers.
Well, Mr. Wyatt, the few times that I've listened to your show, I've never heard you mention PG. So, again, I just wanted you to hear. You know what the difference is, man? Look, I don't have any.
Yeah, I don't have any beef with anybody about stuff like that. But let me just tell you this. I know that there's a lot of jukebox talking, which means there's records that's been in the same jukebox that's been played over and over and over again. I'm not a podcast world type of guy. I'm not a radio guy. I'm none of that shit. I'm a regular Joe that has a camera and his setup right here who talk like regular people. I don't bullshit with politicians. I don't get gas lit it up. That don't make me relevant because I talk to politicians and I don't do that type of shit, bro. And because my approach is different, now I got to be all these different people. Tim Scott, I don't even know who those people are. Okay, I don't even fuck with them people. So here's the thing. I'm sorry, whatever mode I'm fitting in that you've been watching for decades, but it's not me. I will address that. Y'all know I always say I'm not a politic dude. That's not what I do. I get money. That's it. Now, if y'all don't want to listen, if you don't want to pay attention to how I get to it, if you don't want to like kind of relax on some of the shit that's going against us and maybe take a different approach, oh well. That's just, we have different approaches. But I've never attacked them, and I've never called any of them out of their name. I've never made reference to any of them any other kind of way. And I never played into it. You see what I'm saying? And that's okay, bro. See, this is, it only proves the point of what a chaos agent truly is. It's someone that wants to divide. It's someone that wants to show somebody that the other side is nowhere near like us. Now, how does that sound that you got black folks talking about black folks like that?
See, this is what I wanted to hear from you, Wyatt-Live. This response that you've just given me is exactly what I wanted to hear, because other people who hear Glenn, they're hearing you now respond to him the way you did in your own style and your own way. And I appreciate it, bro. But it's Friday. I ain't got no job. Oh, that's right. I'm retired. So thank you for taking my call and indulging me on some of that audio. But, man, I'm telling you, Wyatt-Live, when they talk about you on other shows and they don't mention your name out loud, that means that you are relevant. You keep doing what you're doing. And if you want to stay in your lane, feel free. But if you ever need a tow truck,
I can call you a AAA number. I could call your AAA.
I'm the man, Wyatt. Well, you have a good weekend, brother.
All right, brother.
And,
enjoy, and get a good weekend, man. And hey, I'm sure you heard about that situation out there in California with Bruce's Beach, right?
No, I didn't hear about it. But if you look back to the time period when that was happening, a lot of black folks came to California because of the openness. You know, it was a liberal state.
Sure.
It was far from the South. So it's more stories coming out like this. And this is where I got to give credit, Wyatt, to these young black folks that's coming up right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're taking action. They're doing stuff because they know just marching in the streets with signs don't really get nothing done. These young people are learning how to go to court. They are learning how to challenge these laws, which is a beautiful thing. They are not relying on the desperate Democrat Party. So the future looks bright for Black America and these young people, because you know why it's always about the young folks.
Sure.
Because they get it from their parents.
Well,
so
here's the thing, bro.
Doing the right thing.
You're absolutely right. We got a different type of young people coming up. And I just kind of tore down a certain young people, and I don't want to put them all in the same category. I think we have, of course, 90% of our community of young folks are going off to do the right thing. We still got some knuckleheads. I was one when I was a child. However, I think that these ways of approaching certain things is a little played out. It's a little played out, and I think some of these kids are coming out. They're not listening to podcast shows like of old. They're not listening to that. They're not listening to the, you know, they more concentrating on what they can do for themselves and what they can do. How do they build a new community? I think that's what they're focused on today.
Right.
And here's the thing. We got some black folks. We got a community down here that some people, where I grew up, people have been moved out. It was public housing. There was low income rent and all that going on in the over the Rhine area. Now they're taking those same units and turning them into high expensive price units. We got some people that's not happy about that. But you know what's funny is, you know, I have property down in that same area, and the last time I checked, I'm black. Here's the other thing. When I'm down there, I see plenty of black people going in them same high expensive buildings. See, we get mixed up and lost in the sauce that everything that's good is for somebody else. We act like we don't have a part in any of that. And I'm trying to get rid of that brain, that situation of, okay, there may be more white people that live there, but come on now, there are black people that live in these areas too. So
that's right. Hey, I mean, why? Because before I go, because I gotta go, I want to leave this one thing with you. If you ever listen to a Democrat policymaker speech, whenever they talk about putting money into the economy for the people, they always say that the Democrats build from the bottom up to the middle out. and they say the Republicans believe in trickle down. So why is it that a Democrat starts from the bottom and tells their constituents that the furthest you can go is to the middle? There's no room for you to go above the middle class, because if you go above the middle class, guess where you'll be? Think about that one, Wyatt.
I'm a couple steps ahead of you. I already know the outcome of that.
You might be able to explain that a little bit better than me. But
No,
every time I hear a Democrat talking about we build it from the bottom up to the middle out, what about from the bottom up to the middle to the top to as far as you can go?
Well, here's the problem, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't get into the Democrat Republican thing. I don't really get into all of that, but I do get into leadership. And the last thing that I've always had, I've always had a problem with somebody. I've always had a problem with somebody who has a whole lot more than the people that they representing, and they live in better, and they have so much more interest in they have more interest in those policies going through financially for themselves than they do the people. I've always had a problem with that, because I don't know one of those Democrat leaders or Republican leaders that tend to they dumb down their life for their constituents. I don't know any of them. I know a lot of poor people that are Democrats voting for these folks, and these people have houseboats. I mean, their leadership has houseboats, and they live in gated communities, and they just live better, and they live above the average income level of people that they represent. And I tend to see that to be somewhat of a slap in the face.
Yeah, well, in America, Wyatt, we all have the freedom to choose our own path in life. It is 2021. It is not 1921. And shout out to the family.
Well, hold on 1 second, Fame. I'm sorry, Drop. I actually wish it was 1921, because we probably would be more unified, because that was the time when we was really unifying, putting dollars together and creating communities together at the hardest time for black folks. How does black folks go buy land in 1912 in California and own beaches and resorts?
We're not supposed to talk about that.
Well, that's why I'm known as somebody like whatever I was talked about, but that's okay. That's all right. Listen, bro, you're going to have winners and losers in this life. The only way you're going to win is to have proper leadership. Leadership don't lead you to water and they take more water out of the pond than you get. We disperse it out evenly. So my leaders can't have more money or can't have more water than me. When we get to the water, fight for something that we all can use together. Don't fight for what you already got it. So what's the difference? If I already setting myself in a certain position in life, why aren't people looking at some of the things I say as, well, he did it? See what I'm saying? They look at me as I'm trying to talk down. Now, I'm not talking about my regular folks. I'm talking about people that got a problem with what I say. You're talking about a kid that came from nothing. Now, unlike people who might have something to say about me, they can't say they come from where I come from. They had 2 parents in the house, and they had businesses. They didn't struggle like we did. All right, so how you gonna be having? It's always the ones who never been through the shit that got the most to say. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yes, but you also got to remember too, Wyatt, everybody that has something to say doesn't speak. It takes courage to go against the 80 and 90%. You are standing alone when you speak out against your black brothers and sisters, because most of them are attached to a certain way of thinking because of the way they vote.
Well, let me say this to you, Drop. Let me say this. I hope this don't sound like I'm being defiant to you, but I don't talk against them. I just talk opposite of them. Now, how certain people may take that might say I'm against what they say. I'm just saying what they're saying in a different way. I'll give you a perfect example. We can agree that the devastation of property, eminent domain, has crushed our world as black folks of what they want to call wealth building. Okay, we can agree on that. Here's my difference. My difference is stop trying to get in systems. See, I'm not trying to support systems that keep us from being able to build wealth. I'm all about systems that make us start working towards building our own wealth. And we might need a little help. Of course we need help. But I just see things a little bit different about how we get that help. Some help is not meant to help you. It's meant to maintain you. That's all I'm saying. And I watched it growing up. We all have. We got brothers and sisters, especially sisters out here. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but we all know that cycle of some little 14-year-old girl having a baby, getting on the system, and she stays there because she becomes adapt to that lifestyle. She gets used to getting $236 in food stamps. She gets used to getting on Section 8 and having that set rent. She gets used to that. And then that type of tone is when you go, like mother after mother going through that, it's hard to see more for yourself. My mama did it. That's what I'm gonna do. It's the same thing with us, brother, with the boys. A lot of fellas want to follow the footsteps of their daddy. A lot of us do, even if our daddies wasn't shit. I did.
Right, on that note, my brother, I gotta go. You have a great weekend.
You too, brother.
Go Cincinnati Bengals.
That's right.
First place.
That's right.
Thanks for taking my call. I hope I didn't cause you to lose any followers.
Well, I don't think I've done anything to lose anybody. If anything, I welcome. No, listen here, bro.
Guilt by association, Wyatt.
Huh?
Guilt by association.
Oh, well, hey, here's the thing, bro. I wish everybody well at what they do, no matter how long they've been doing it and how long they're going to do it. I wish them well. Let's just say that when I put a blueprint together, it generally works out for me because I'm methodical. And I'm not trying to teach somebody something that I haven't been through. I'm not trying to repeat a circumstance or a situation in life. I think what they talk about and what they do is necessary. I just know when it's time to activate and when it's time to be active in what they talk about, it's limited participation. That's all I can say. And those are facts.
That is true. On that note, y'all have a good weekend.
You too, Drop. Good talking to you, brother. That was Drop 52. He has a podcast. Now, y'all know, if you know me personally, you might only know me as this personality here on the show, but if you know me personally, you know where I'm at in my mind. You know where I'm at. You know where I'm at in my mind. But for those that don't know me, let me let you know. I'm not bothered. I might look like it. I'm just a little drained. But those are supposed to be, we're supposed to be positive. We're supposed to be individuals that look out for one another. And, I keep telling you, we in our own way. I keep telling you that. I'd like to know, because I gave this man, Drop 52, my word. I gave him my word. I would like to know if anybody on here wants me to be any different than I've always been. Since I gave him my word, do you want me to clap back? Because to be honest with you, I can be very vindictive. The difference is if I go at somebody, I'm never going to stop until I win. I'm never going to stop. And here's the difference. When I go at someone, I'm coming with all facts. My opinion of you will be based on the facts that I know of you. And it may not be a personal, I'm talking about of what you believe in. My integrity was not really shattered. My integrity was not shattered, so I don't take it personal. My beliefs in my conversation was attacked. Those are opinions. I'm okay with that. You can disagree with me, but as long as it's nothing personal, I don't even have a problem when you say our whack ass show. I don't have a problem with that because we're a year in. It probably is whack to some people that have been doing this shit for 30 years or 40 years or 20 years, been listening for 20 or 30 years. They have perfected an ear for this shit. I've never said that I was the best at it. I just give my opinion on what we talk about. That's it. All I'm saying is this. This would be beneath who I am because it would serve very little purpose. And the reason why is because any truth that I speak would tell the truth about whatever lies some other people may speak. And if I'm not in business, you know, I'm not the individual. I don't want to be that individual that kills Santa Claus for the kids. I don't want to take anybody's Christmas away. So I'll leave it at that. I believe that I'll focus on what we do, what we talk about. We'll continuously motivate people to do bigger things in life. I'm not saying they don't do that, but I'm just saying that I just sometimes pay attention to the success of the people around me to determine how successful I am as an individual. That's more important to me. I don't want to disrespect anybody because, quite frankly, radio guys get a check. Podcast guys make this their way of living. Me, I'm not in either one of those categories. I have never in 15 years or so stopped a man's money by being vindictive. God didn't give me my blessings to be able to use it as a tool to hurt somebody else. That's just not how I flow. I've been called worse than all that shit. I've done a lot of stuff for people that don't say good shit about me. So why would I allow somebody who I ain't never done nothing for, and they surely ain't never done nothing for me? Why would I give them that kind of space? And I understand in this game of podcasts and radio, I understand that there comes a level of chaos agent that has to happen, because what happens is these guys need the ratings for, you know, to get paid. That's how they get paid. Me, I don't need it like that. Some of y'all who know me might be like, bro, you lightweight bitching up on this. But I'm not, bro. Y'all know that I'm the type of dude that kind of look at shit and chuck it off. And if it ever came to a point where I had to defend myself or I had to clap back because it got out of hand, y'all the same ones that know that I can handle that shit if I really want to. There's several ways of doing it. But I'm going to leave it where it's at, because sometimes you got to take the high road. I've always been saying that since we started. And as far as people getting blocked on the show, see, this is what a lot of people don't understand. I'm very diverse. You might want to go check my portfolio. I'm a little diverse in the type of people that I've dealt with in my 40 years of living. Who said something? I'm a little diverse in my dealings with people, and I can see a rat in the grass and a snake in the grass anytime. So if you get blocked, it's not because I fear you. It's because I seen your tactic. You can't do me like I ain't never been done before and not expect me to sniff it out. It's impossible. This shit don't mean that much to me. My own people turn on me. No, the only people that's ever turned on me are people that I don't rock with. If you know me and we cool, you'll never turn on me because I'll never turn on you. See, that's the whole misinformation of it all. People turning on me? How? We have a group of folks here. We have a family here that want to hear things a certain way. We got people on this podcast that listen to it that way that they have over there and this way. I'm not asking them to quit that man, quit that girl, quit that boyfriend, quit that girlfriend. I'm not asking them to do that. Matter of fact, who was it? Was it Brenda Harris that came on here? And I think it was just yesterday when I was like, I love me some Brenda Harris because she all over the place. She be on every show. I know Cleopatra. I know all these people. They be on all these different shows. I love the fact that they open their mind and they like the diversity in the conversation. I love it. But you can't say that about everybody, because everybody's not open to new ideas. Everybody's not open to suggestions. Everybody's not open for a brand new day. Everybody's not open to be different than who they are already. You know, if I had to be who I was meant to be when I was born in the circumstances, I'd probably be inmate number, whatever you want to run the number down on. But I opened my mind, I opened my eyes, I opened opportunity. Opportunity came, I found it. So I'm here to tell stories, and I'm here to tell you my stories, whether some like to hear them or not. I'm also here to shed different light on the same situations that we've been seeing decades after decades. I don't care how you classify me. You can't call me a Republican, a conservative, a Democrat. You can't call me anything that's going to hurt my feelings because I sleep well at night. I mean, I might have a crick in my neck sometime because the pillow might be too high, but it ain't because I'm worried about some shit. Do you really think that somebody who's totally irrelevant in my life could really put me in a space that I feel uncomfortable in my own skin? That's impossible. And I appreciate you, Drop, for bringing the information to me. I mean, it's cool. Let's just say this. I'm going to take this from Floyd Mayweather himself, the GOAT of boxing. If they ain't talking about you, you ain't relevant. So if you're talking good about me, if you're talking bad about me, when you stop talking about me, then I ain't nothing. So you keep on talking about me. But I know the biggest fear is if you talk too much. You know, if you talk too bad, it might draw interest. People might want to hear about how dumb and how soft and all that shit I truly am. And they might come over here and get a nice little stock tip. They might come over here and learn something that might, put a little coins in their bank account, and then what'll happen? So, with all due respect, I'm going to decline to a clapback. Because I think a no response is the best clapback that you can give somebody that don't deserve a response. How y'all feel about that, fam? Let me read some comments, man. Enough of what I'm talking about. Shit, I'm in this space. Latora Gooden, what's up, PC? She says no. Angela Kinney comes in. She says, what purpose would that serve? Stephanie Hyde says, I already messaged my thoughts. Please read them. I truly will. Brenda Early, what's good, Brenda? She says, be true to yourself. Thank you. And some of these folks are accustomed to the radio stations and the podcasts in the city of Cincinnati. They listen to those shows. And they know, y'all know, because you wouldn't come back. If I was the kind of person that was actually, let me see some. Hell yes. Ignore the ass. Okay, that was a text message from Crystal Wilwright because her ass is on Facebook jail. Inmate number 5572. That's Crystal Wilwright. Oh my God, sis, you on Facebook jail? I'm gonna get you a t-shirt. Yes, I got a t-shirt for Crystal Wilwright. I'm gonna get you a Chaos Agent t-shirt, an inmate, Facebook inmate number t-shirt. I got them coming out. 2 for $20. Well, Stephanie House says, well, I'm pissed enough for both of us. I love you. He was so obvious. Okay. Stephanie also says, I just think Drop crossed the line of respect. Well, I don't think Drop said anything wrong. I think what he was doing was sharing information. I think he was just sharing some information. That's all. That's all. Stephanie House says, no response is perfect. Denise, what's good, Denise? She was like, if you respond, I would be totally surprised. I would think you became me. Exactly. That's who I need to have a clap back on. That's Denise. She's one of my, she works with me. She works for me, basically. She's one of my book. She works with me. She keeps my books and all that type of good stuff. She knows my persona. She knows that I am a mellow guy. Even when it comes to business and things go bad, I never go off. I think she's only seen me go off once since we've been together as a group. Let's see here. Sabrina says you already know. There's my buddy Billy Donovan. Of course he's gonna say I'm soft because he's a fighter. What up, Billy? MMA guy. He says soft. All right. I know y'all gonna say that, and a lot of my partners will. A lot of people that I know will, that know me on a personal level, because they know my capabilities. They know what I would possibly do. Denise says, you always say that I want to go in with guns blazing, and you just want to watch what happens. Yeah, I just fall back. Denise is the one who attacks with the mouth and all that. She's more aggressive than I am, but she's seen me get to a certain level, and she was shocked. She was shocked. All right, so listen, I appreciate everybody coming in. The show's not quite over. I just wanted to address that. I think it was fair. I don't have any problems with anybody on shows locally of Cincinnati, nowhere in Florida, whatever. They may get a kick out of what, if that was a start of something, it'll be the start in the end. All I want to do is bring a diverse message to a group of people. There's not, if you really think about it, how many shows do we have in the city of Cincinnati that have a diverse, that has a different, wouldn't you want in your city some diverse ability? Don't you want a diverse conversation? Or do you all want to just continue to listen to the same, not the same people, but the same type of conversation? I would think that diversity is healthy. I would think having a, couple different dialogues, would be different. I would think that. But see, what happens is when you continuously hear the same thing over and over and over again, it could be different subjects, but the bottom line is, how do you handle these things? Isn't it good to have a different perspective sometime? Isn't it cool to be able to have a different outlook? Or how would somebody, if you got several brothers and sisters in your household, like my wife has 5 sisters, it's 6 of them. See, I grew up a single child, so I didn't really have anybody to run to the house. I had to deal with my problems internally. But if you got brothers and sisters, do you only go to one brother or your one sister? Or do you get several or different opinions? Don't you get a different way of seeing things? Yeah, I think so. I think diversity is there. Billy Donovan says, nah, I'm kidding. I caught the end of the story. You already know I could care less to feed into ignorance. F them. You're right. It's cool, bro. I ain't tripping on that. I don't even know how it came up. I know Drop brought it. I'm not really tripping. Excuse me. I'm not really concerned about it because it wasn't like it was personal. Everybody's entitled. I'm getting text messages. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. And that's what makes this thing beautiful. That's what makes this world beautiful. It's what you do with the opinions. It's how you stand on what you say. And here's the difference. If people want to challenge what I say, and if my lifestyle is different than what I say, what I preach and how I do things in life, I'm not living how I'm talking, you have every ground to attack me and say whatever you want to say. That would be disingenuous, right? But my lifestyle matches what I say. I can't say that about everybody. I watch a lot of different shows. This is nothing about anybody individually, like in Cincinnati. I'm talking about, I watch a lot of shows. I watch a lot of different podcasts. I watch news shows. And one of the problems that I have in certain parties or certain people is they always speak up for people, but they live better than them. They live better than them. And that just seems to be odd to me. That goes for Democrats, Republicans, all those politician people. I'm not into politics. And if that's all you have, if that's the only conversation that you can bring, if the only thing you can do is classify me as what, a conservative or a Trumpster or a Republican or a Democrat, if that's how we got to see each other, then you fail exactly for what this shit is out there for, to separate people. Because the last time I checked, I don't give a damn what office you go into. They not going to ask you. If you black, they ain't going to ask you if you're a Republican or a Democrat. None of that shit really matters when you're trying to get shit done here in America, when you're trying to better yourself. It has nothing to do with it. Now, you can play on it and say the world has been better when the Republicans ran the office, which is bullshit. The Democrats run the office, things are better. That's all bullshit to me. I think we need to take look at individuals, look at ourselves as individuals. That's it. And find out a way we can work together. Do we really need government in everything we do? How much government assistance or how much government did those black folks have in 1912 that was buying Bruce's Beach? That was the most critical time. It was almost impossible for black folks to have anything in 1920. It was almost impossible. Do you think that was their conversation back then? It was, oh, I ain't gonna mess with you because you're a Republican. I ain't gonna mess with you because you're a Democrat. You know, people get into altercations about that shit. I just can't find myself to do that. I can't find myself to do that. Now, insults. I've been insulted. The way I grew up, insults was a game. Played the dozens. You know what I mean? We capping and shit. All that shit, them was games. But there comes to a point where certain things get serious when you really out here and you sacrificing and you doing certain things. You don't have time. I don't have time for shit like that. That's why you may not be welcome, because I don't have time to sit back and entertain things that people might want to call entertaining to them. I'm not in the business of entertaining people. Don't get this program twisted with some of the things that people may want to be entertained by. I don't like chaos agent shit. I oppose it. But don't take my kindness for weakness. That's all I can tell you, because you really don't know me. Please don't. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because, you know, there are seriously some people that are wondering why I'm not being who I truly am deep down inside. So for my folks who wanted me to clap back, that's as much clapping as you're gonna get. That's it. That's it. Now, let's move on. I really want to do a show on Bruce's Beach, because I think this show on Bruce's Beach is going to make us all open up to understand what I've been talking about since day one. And that is being able to own what we do. I've taken footage from Dame. I've taken footage from a lot of people that kind of they're known as being kind of crazy. You know what I mean? But that's what happens when you get certain people that look like us in positions. The media and the powers to be push them off to their people, to us, as being nuts, crazy. Because if you think that person is crazy, their information you don't want to absorb it. It's like, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be part of that. If I'm part of that, then they gonna think I'm just like him. See what I'm saying? Like a Dame Dash. Dame Dash may come off kind of crazy about some things, because one of the most frustrating things is when you really have the ability to do something, but you may not have the resources to get it done. I know that sounds kind of funny, but it's the truth. You can have money, but still not be able to do some things because you don't have the resources to get things done. And yeah, Brenda Harris, you're absolutely right, sis. I put it in our message group, and I said that same thing to the group, to us. I said it was a lesson. It's a teaching lesson. But let me just ask you this. From 1912, when they bought that beach, okay, when they opened that beach up, when they opened that property up, you understand they could not have been done. This is going to sound kind of crazy, but they could not have been done that way if they didn't own that property. What if they were just renting that beachfront property? What if they just had, what if they didn't have any ownership in that land? You see what I'm saying? They would have just been able to rent some places that's great beachfront property or whatever, run their business, function their business, and then when the landlord comes knocking at the door and tell them they have to leave, they had no choice. And to be honest with you, they really didn't have much of a choice at this point because of the eminent domain situation. But see, that's a different argument. It only makes my point stronger of how important it is for us to own what we do. See, there's a difference between something being taken and something being told, hey, you got to leave in 30 days. There's a paper trail of ownership, so that family, generational wealth will go back to this family. But if you were just renting that land or renting that unit or whatever, when the landlord come knocking on the door and say, hey, I sold the building, paper trail or no paper trail, you got to go. What, you going to show rent receipts? No, this is what I've been saying the entire time that we've been here on Wyatt-Live, is it's important for us to be in a position where even when wrong happens, we have a recourse. And that's what these folks had. And what led that recourse? That recourse is the fact that they own the land, paper trail and all. Now, what a lot of people don't know is they're not the only ones that were affected by that eminent domain. They were not the only people affected. But of course, it's juicy and it's attractive when you have a person who buys land for $9,000 and now it's worth $75 million. Now that's a hell of a story. That's a hell of a story. But I'm just comparing then to now. It was almost difficult. It was almost impossible for black people to buy land. But they made it happen. There was systematic everything going against them. But they made it happen. So my biggest argument was, in the city of Cincinnati, we have to learn how to be our brother's keepers. Everybody's not going to know what the next man knows. I'm still a work in progress myself personally. So if I can pass some information on that's going to give us some people some inkling on how to get to the next level, it's up to you to do the same thing. People did it for me. Paul White did it for me. I was wearing ridiculous suits to work and looking like I was going to the club. It took a brother to grab me and say, hey, slow down. Slow down. So my question is, let's just use Cincinnati as an example. You look at what Cincinnati had called some of the folks. I don't know who. I can't put a label on the people who did it. But hold on one second. Let me put this on. Let me see. Sabrina says this. I'm sorry, Sabrina. I don't want to get too far out of the comments. She says the KKK ran them out, and the city backed the KKK by using eminent domain and saying they were going to build a park because they were successful and black. Yes, it happened. Has anyone on Wyatt-Live on our platform ever heard me say that America's not racist? Have you ever heard me say that we ain't never been done bad? Have you ever heard me say that displacement don't necessarily happen? You've never heard me disagree or say that these things didn't happen. I've never said that, folks. Y'all know I ain't never said no shit like that. What I've said is what we do is we have to dust ourselves off. We got to figure out a way not to let that happen again. And just because, okay, the first rule is the knowledge of it. We know that it happened. Now, how do we stop it from happening again? You have to position yourself, right? The only way to get ahead in America is to be self-sufficient. I'm sorry. I've always told everybody, if you have a job, if you work in 9 to 5, God bless you. It's great. I understand. Work them years, do your thing, get a pension, do what you do. But I'm going to ask you to do something on the side to make some money that got your name on it. You'll thank me later. And I've always said that I don't give a damn if you make $1,000 a week on your job, but then you got something that you doing that got your name on it and it's making $50 a week. It's not about the money. Just do something that has your name on it. My grandmother put 32 years in at McAlbin's. It'll never say McAlbin's and Marlene. It'll never say that. But my grandmama, she taught me that philosophy. And she was a woman that went to work, rode the metro bus every day in the snow, all that old shit that we heard. She rode the bus every day to work. She came home late at night and brought me a pack of M&Ms. I remember those special moments. So if I remember that, it would be a disservice for me not to remember the things that she said to me. So let's just say 100 years from today in Cincinnati, how many people will say, let's just use this as an example because I don't want to make light of this. I want this to be a teachable moment. 100 years from today, when that stadium, that TQC or whatever, the FC stadium, 100 years from today, who will be able to say in the black community that their property was taken to build that entity, that stadium? Who would be able to say today or 100 years from now, they ripped the property from my family to build a stadium, to build Paul Brown Stadium, the soccer stadium, the baseball stadium? Who could say that? We could have been able to say that, but we had no stake. We had no ownership in what we call our community. All I've ever been trying to say is let's figure out a way to get ownership in something that we call our own. Is there anything wrong with that? That's all I say. Is there anything wrong with wanting to be in the same position that the Bruce family was in? Now, I don't want the land to be taken from us. No, not at all. But all I'm saying is, let's leave a paper trail. If we're going to be deserved, if something going to go against us, if some mistreatment going to happen, what's our recourse? We got a paper trail. We'll have something. Do I wish this on us? Of course not. But 99 years from now, 100 years from now, or whatever it is, 150 years from now, what would we be able to say was sitting on top of Laura Holmes' ground in OTR? 20 years ago, nobody wanted those buildings down there. We had every opportunity in the world to grab it. Let's see this. I pose this question to everybody. Let's see how long it takes the Afghanistans to do something with the money they receive from the government of the United States of America. Let's see how they build shit with their name on it. Let's see how long it takes them to build their own communities and have ownership in it. I think that's a fair question. I think that's a fair question. See, maybe I'm not, since I'm not a real radio guy or podcast guy, I admit to that. I admit to that. I didn't go to school. I didn't go to, what do they call that shit? Radio broadcasting school and all that old shit. Maybe they teach you how to get your point across a little different. Maybe they do that, guys. Maybe I'm lacking in that area. If I'm missing something, tell me. I'm cool with that. Listen, man, this is not what I do for my coins. But anything that I can pass on that maybe help or say something that might unite some folks, listen, I'm not here to tear down. I'm not falling for that. I'm not falling for that. I will defend myself, but I'm not falling for that. All I'm saying to you is this. There's plenty of proof in America how they get done. There's plenty of proof of destruction. There's plenty of proof of success. There's plenty of proof of getting it done when all the odds are against you. But we got to have some people that are talking about how it happened, what happened. I'm not against that. I know I've in the past called the shit chaos agents, but you got to understand this is going to be against the grain of how I feel and what I say. I'm going to give chaos agents a little bit of credit in this sense. Some chaos is necessary. What do you call, and I'm not trying to compare them to a whining baby, but at a certain point, a baby has to cause chaos and whine and cry when they're hungry. It gets your attention. So now that they have your attention, don't settle for just having the attention of these individuals. Make them live up to what they say. This is why I don't like politics, because politicians come to the churches. They come around black folks. They come around us when it's time to vote. Do you see those same people around you 3.5 years ago? Do you see them 2 years? Do you see them after the elections? They say a few things of what they're doing and what direction they're going in. And then after that, it's business as usual, whether you like what they're doing or not. I would love to see regular people down at City Hall. I'm talking regular people. I've always posed this. Some people may not agree with this. If I had any wish or if I had a wand, I don't know how bright this would be. It was just one of my things I came up with. I say, why don't you make your city council a mixture of people from community council? Why don't you just have each president of community council members? Now, some people might laugh at me because I am a little ignorant to how that system works. As far as, like why that won't work, I might be ignorant to that. But I think I think most people would be served best by people that are understandable by people's situations. You live with us. You live in the community that you rep in. So why don't you rep for the entire community? Why don't they use all of the presidents from the community councils to form a council? I guess that might not be all that wise. I'm not saying make that entire board, that entire city council, the presidents. I'm saying it should be a portion of them. There's 9 city council members or something like that. You can't put 4 of them, or how, I don't know. Maybe they can have their own council and they can elect 4 representatives that speak for the city council, for those city, communities, and let those 4 represent the people. I don't know. There's got to be a better way. I just don't think this way's been working. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's working great for some people. Let me see here. I got a little backed up on my comments. Brenda Harris, one of my favorites, she comes in. She always got something great to say. She says 13,000 Haitians remain in the U.S. The worker bees that were not sent back. USA got plans. The Haitians will someday own property. There's no doubt. Brenda, there's no doubt. Come on, we've had this conversation. I'm not going to attack Joe Biden and all that old shit. A lot of people, that's just too easy. That's too easy. It's way too easy to blame an individual. I know what the cause of all this is. Don't think that Republicans and Democrats, politicians, will find a way to benefit from all these folks. Do you really think that I believe that Republicans are sitting back really all that sore about immigrants coming into the country? Fuck no. Come, listen. Don't think, y'all know I'm neutral in this. I've always huffed and puffed about Republicans and Democrats. But they sitting back here, Republicans are attacking the obvious. And that is, well, Joe Biden's failing. Joe Biden's failing. He's failing at this, he's doing this. He's failing at this, he's failing. That's an easy situation to attack. But let's just think about it. Let me ask you this question here. Now, I don't know the answer. I just have my own take. I don't know the right answer. I just believe in what I say. Let me ask you this. Who benefits more for immigrants to be in the United States of America? Being cheap labor, if you want to call it, Mexicans or whatever. See, Afghanistans are not going to be cheap labor. They're not going to be cheap labor. They're going to be business owners. It's just a difference. You can call me a racist or whatever you want. Those folks are not coming here. They come in here with the impression of America. America. See, I lived in a country where I used to hear people say, you live in America? You from America? Oh my God, I would love. See, I know the freedoms of this country. I know the beauty of this country. I know the restrictions of other countries. And I know the one thing that a lot of people from foreign land want to come here to do is be all they can be. I know that. But let me ask you this serious question, and it may not come off real well for some people, but this is a serious question. Who do you think in the long run will benefit from cheap labor coming into the United States? How does Democrats benefit from that? Cheap labor is only going to put more money in corporate America and big business in America. Cheap labor is only going to put more money in that pockets because people keeps costs down. Democrats have more, and I'm not saying that there's not corporate people that are Democrats. That would be foolish for me to say. But wouldn't you say that majority of Democrats are hardworking frontline people, hardworking people, people that have jobs that could possibly be infiltrated by cheap labor people? Wouldn't you say that? I mean, our college kids, our high school kids will be struck by low labor people. All of that stuff will kick in. So let me ask you, who benefits more for immigrants being in America? I might be wrong in my assessment. Let me see. Brenda Harris says, let me see something. Brenda Harris says, imagine when black folks stepped off those ships, the USA put money aside for us. We were not paid, but built this country for no money. Brenda, you know I'm all about reparations. I've said it on the show a million times. I just want us to be ready when it lands. You understand? I've never said we shouldn't get reparations. I've always said I need my people to be ready for it. Let me give you a perfect example. I've said it before. I don't want to be, you know what? If God blessed me right now with a winning lottery ticket, you know that $1 million is worth more to me now at my age than it would have been if I would have won it at 20 years old. I wasn't ready for it. If I had $1 million lottery ticket right now, it would be more useful now in my life, and I would have an idea how to spread the wealth to everyone than it would be if I was 20 years old. All I'm asking is if we're going to get reparations and we're going to line up for it, which is well overdue. That's a bill. That bill right there should have lowered the credit score of America. That's a defaulted invoice. That's a defaulted bill. And I'm just telling my folks that I see all this money going to all these other nations and all these other people. I see Joe Biden signing off $6 billion monies for Afghanistan's. I just see too much going on that gives me the hope of reparations. I don't see it coming. But let's just say it does. Don't you want to be ready for it? Or do you want to be that 20-year-old kid who gets some money and not know what to do with it? Here's what we don't understand. You might know what to do with it now. I might know what to do with it now. But there's several of us who may not know what to do with it now. Wyatt, that ain't your business. That ain't your responsibility. I really think it is. I really think some of this, it's a responsibility as a brother, as a man, to pass on knowledge to other men so they can pass that knowledge on. That's the responsibility of a father, quite frankly. I get it. But sometimes everybody don't have a dad. So where you get how to be a man from? Everybody don't have a mother. They might have a stepmother that don't like them or a stepfather that don't like them. Everybody don't have the same circumstances. I've always understood that. But I always understood one thing of those circumstances. Everybody, whether you have somebody or not, everybody needs somebody to teach them what they don't know. I just don't know if reparation talk, it's good, but I don't know if we got work to do. So we can be 1912 and get beachfront property. We can make investments. I've seen so many football players and athletes come in the city of Cincinnati and they buy all the cars and they buy all these things, but none of them ever took their name and went and bought a car dealership. Hell, Joe Morgan had a car dealership in Cincinnati maybe 5 years, the Honda store. How is that possible, Joe? You ain't played for the Reds in 30 or 40 years. You should have been had a car dealership in Cincinnati. Joe Morgan Honda should have been existing when Hondas and Subarus and all that shit were together. What I'm saying is we need that type of economic growth. It has to happen within. Somebody has to tell us. Somebody has to teach us. Now let Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the Bengals, look at what Boomer Esiason did. Boomer Esiason opened up stuff in the city of Cincinnati. A lot of that stuff came off of just his name, the recognition of his name, the affiliation that people wanted to have of his name. We need to use our brothers and make sure they utilize that same privilege of name to build up. That's all I've ever been crying. That's all I've ever been crying. Let's see here. Brenda Harris says, good topic. What would you do with your money? Well, I wouldn't do this. That's a little personal, but that's okay. I wouldn't do anything different than what I'm doing now because of my age, because I know, I know better. I know what to do. But it would be more like school. My daughter has a heavy school situation coming up. Medical school is very expensive. And then I have another daughter coming after that. So I know the focus at this age that I am is to try to get that situation. I would invest in my children. So that's to answer that. I've already done that personally. I've already invested in my children, but that reparations money would make it a lot easier for them to accomplish extended education if they needed it. And then here's the thing. It would also open up the door for their children to be able to do what they do. You see what I'm saying? It would open up the opportunity for them to be able to go off to school. I clearly understand the importance of education. It's not just us, each one teach one. We still need these universities. And it's not just major universities. I'm not opposed to people that want to go to trade schools. See, one of the things that I learned over in Europe when I was there is when those kids leave high school, they have to give 3 years to their country of service, but yet they go to school for free. And when they go to school, they have to commit to working for something in their country, whether it's a firefighter, police officer, a medical, like an EMT or something of that nature. They have to work for the government or something of that nature, do volunteer work for a nonprofit organization. They have to give 3 years of their life in exchange for school. I just think that's a wonderful, I just think that's a great thing to do. I think it's a great thing to do. And unfortunately, it kind of seems like it's a little dictatorship, to be honest, but maybe I got a little bit of that in me because I've always said that America is so free. We're free to not do anything. We're free to just be nothing if we want to be. And I'm talking about anybody that don't have a color on it. I'm talking about everybody. We're just free to not be anything. You don't have to be anything. You just got to be able to live. Well, I think that if kids who might need a little extra push, they may find an interest in something if they had to go do something. That's just my personal thought. And I know that I come from a world, I grew up where I seen some dudes that I looked up to who seen dudes at that same time out on the corner drinking Mad Dog 40, 2020s and all that shit, drinking 40s and all that, hanging out on the street. Winos is what we used to call them back in the days. And those same winos were setting the example, or they were there. And I don't understand how some of these cool dudes seen that and fell into that same trap. I never understood. I guess it's easy. I'm not an alcohol guy. I don't indulge in alcohol, so I don't know how it overcomes the body, and I could see what it does to people sometimes. But I've never been I don't indulge in alcohol, so I don't know how it can really take over. I know how drugs do it. Not that I'm a drug addict. I've never done that either. I'm just saying it's a chemical addiction. I guess alcohol can be. It is too, and it can take over. It can take over. Brenda Harris says 1912 beachfront property. The Bruces slipped through the cracks. See, you know what? I don't think they slipped through the cracks, Brenda. Here's what happened. I think Drop said something about back in those days that California was a little bit more open. It was a little bit more acceptive, if you want to say that. I don't know. I wasn't there, obviously, in 1912, but I think we have that in a lot of different areas. I mean, hell, we had it in 2000. All right. More black people migrated to Atlanta, Georgia. And you know what? No black person went to Atlanta. A lot of entrepreneurs left their cities across the country to go to Atlanta right before the Olympics. And remember, Atlanta pumped all that money into Atlanta and it became the new black Hollywood, the new black everything. It was a beautiful thing to see. A lot of sisters took their shops down there. A lot of brothers took their barbershops down there. A lot of people took their tech businesses. A lot of people took their businesses to Atlanta. It was a great thing to see. And there was plenty of jobs. I mean, the number one job in Atlanta at that time, I remember because my buddy, my best friend lived in Atlanta. He still do. He went from Miami. He's from Detroit, moved to Miami, left Miami, went to Atlanta during that Olympic situation. They redid the entire city. One of the big jobs that they had back then was the airport. A lot of people put work in at the airport, and some of them still there. Maybe in their 30 years of service there. I don't know, but that was big. The industry, the entertainment industry was one thing, but the industrial was good for us. Then you had Coca-Cola down there that was not against hiring black executives. They were not against hiring black folks. And you had all the entertainment, and I don't mean like records and people making music. I'm talking about Atlanta had NBA, they still do. NBA, football, baseball, those type of things create jobs in our community. Those teams, professional teams, provide all year round employment. And still to this day, you got a lot of very well off black folks that live in Atlanta who had a plan. And I think a lot of people should maybe look at some of that sometime. And that's a great blueprint. I mean, I know some people left Cincinnati to go down to Atlanta and they ended up coming back like, oh, it's just too busy. Well, sometimes you maybe readjust. Charlotte, North Carolina is a great place to maybe start. I mean, there's only so mmany hairdressers that can work in Atlanta. There's only so many guys with, t-shirt shops, or there's only so much that they're going to be able to, you don't want to saturate the market with doing the same stuff. You don't want to do that. So there has to be a new beginning and a new spot. Listen, this is what we all about over here. I'm not trying to tear anyone down. It's just sometimes I guess there is a level of a tear down in order to build up. Sometimes you got to build things new. And that means you have to just sometimes just dust things off to make them better. So it's not a matter of a tear down. It's not a matter of making my people feel like we not capable. I've only been a motivator, but sometimes you got to erase certain things. I mean, when you go get a computer, it only has the necessary. You go buy a brand new computer at Best Buy. Is it going to have old software on it? No. It has the latest software on it. And you're going to be able to do the latest shit on it. You know what I mean? You're going to be good. And that's where I want us to be. But sometimes you got to get rid of the old software and replace it with new shit. That don't mean you got to forget all of the old, what was that called? The old dial-up. You got to get rid of that dial-up shit. But that don't mean you can't, you don't have to, forget about, what was that, American Online? Don't forget about the shit. That's where we started. Now we got all this fast-paced hydro, 5K, wire, everything's great. Wi-Fi? Who's seen that coming? But we here. And what do they tell people that fix computers, old computers and old software guys? What do they make them do? They make them go to school and bring them up to date of now. Today's technology. That's how you repair shit. You use today's technology. My thing is this. Let's get that beachfront property, y'all. Let's get it. Let's get the beachfront property and let's just let that shit happen again if you want to. But now we done seen what happened to the Beach Bruce people. Now we ready for that ass. There's people still to this day losing their property to eminent domain. I'm never saying that it don't happen. I'm saying if you want recourse, if you want to be in a powerful position to get that shit right, you got to have the ownership first. The ownership is more important than anything. You've never heard me say anything different. I'm sticking to what I say. It's Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I'm on my way. I'm going to walk on the beach. I appreciate everybody for coming here, man. I'm going to take a couple pictures so you can see my piece tonight. Go to my page and I'll share my piece tonight. I'm going to show you how walking on the beach relaxes me and keeps me where I need to be. I think all of us need to find our peace. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everyone for being here. Let me see here. Stephanie Hahn says, speaking as your cousin, I couldn't be prouder. Technology is amazing. Yes, absolutely. And Stephanie says, and so is Granny. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for everybody that tuned in today. I really appreciate you. Nothing but love. This is Wyatt. I'll see you guys maybe Monday, 5 o'clock. Peace. peace and chill to everybody, man. Thanks for those that came in.
Imagine faces and endless to ease the pain of having no one in my life. And I'm tired of being under here. It's time to never give my feelings tonight. The sky is gone, the stars are bright. I was better than to be fine. I relax my mind, be at ease, and let this journey set me free. Set me free, and I set my way to a place that I long for. My heart will be safe. A love that's evermore. Then wondered how I managed, always searching but not finding a true heart. What does it take to find me? I'm hoping that I don't have to fly too far. Now the sky is calm, the stars are bright. I was better than to be inside. I relax my mind and be at ease, and let this journey set me free. Set me free, set me free. Had my way.
I love y'all. Who they? Peace and love to everybody. I'm out. I'm searching for a love that's evermore.